Good evening and welcome to RFL. I'm Andrew Whitman, in tonight for Richard French. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing that Metro North is resuming limited hourly service on all of its lines beginning now. Plows and sanders working in overtime to clear the roads. Maggie Rulli has the very latest from the Big Apple. Maggie?
The storm may have brought less snow than predicted, but here on the East Coast, we are still getting pelted with freezing rains and high winds, making for some messy roads and a nasty commute.
Just try and stay above water, you know.
Cleanup crews out in full force throughout New England.
We really just want to keep up on it, not let it get wet underneath.
Trying to stay ahead of this massive winter storm as it continues to dump a nasty mess of ice, rain, and snow on millions throughout the Northeast.
Conditions are very slippery, still dangerous.
Snow piling up, but totals in major cities are far less than predicted, thanks to the storm shifting slightly west. But officials say that doesn't mean we're in the clear.
Sometimes the snow is actually better than this wintry mix, to be honest with you, in terms of cleaning up the roadways, because this creates that icing condition, the black ice.
And are still urging all non-essential workers to stay at home and off the roads, as winds are gusting up to 50, 60 miles per hour in some places. And there are threats of storm surge on the coast. Airports remain empty as thousands of flights have been canceled in major hubs along the East Coast. But for some, this storm is a chance for a family first.
It's our first day today.
Our local station in New York caught up with this family from Australia, landing in the city just in time for the snow to hit.
Is this your first snow?
Yes.
What do you think?
Awesome.
And let's remember, it might not feel like it for millions of us here on the East Coast, but spring is just 6 days away on the calendar, at least. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York. Back to you guys.
All right, Maggie, thank you very much. Let's focus in on our region now. And for the latest on the storm, we're joined by FiOS 1 meteorologist Joe Rayo. And Joe, how much snow did we get and who got hit the hardest?
Well, most definitely the lower Hudson Valley of New York State got hit the hardest. In fact, we have reports of as much as 1.5 feet of snow, more than 1.5 feet. In fact, why don't we show you on the snow totals here, Curly's Corners. I've never been to, have you ever been, Andrew, to Curly's Corners?
Never have.
It's a place in Dutchess County, and I'm not going to be there, and you're not going to be there anytime soon, not with 19 inches of snow on the ground. Rosendale in Ulster County, 18 inches. Warwick and Orange County, 17. Brewster and Putnam County, 14.4. New City, 14 inches. We have a few more to show you here. Gardnertown, 17. Orange Lake, 18, or 16, I should say. Cold Spring, 13.2. Pearl River, 13. Lower Westchester, south of 287, had a lot of sleet during the midday hours and probably held accumulations down to only about 1 foot. And further south in portions of New Jersey and across parts of Long Island, the snow actually changed to rain. And as a result of that, we saw much lighter accumulations, snow accumulations. There's still a blizzard warning up until midnight for Sullivan County, Ulster County, Dutchess County, although I think that's going to be taken down before that expiration date of midnight. You see the snow. It's winding on down, still over portions of Westchester and Putnam County. And in a nutshell, here we go. We're going to have blowing and drifting tonight. Wednesday, maybe a few flurries. It's not going to add very much, if anything at all, to what's already on the ground. A bit milder on Thursday. We may actually get above 30 degrees. And Friday, of course, the big parade. Always the Irish have the luck with them for St. Paddy's Day. Friday, sunshine, blue sky, and a temperature of around 40. It should be 50, but 40. As compared to what we went through today, it's going to feel like a heat wave.
Is that when we first get above freezing, or are we going to, because there's always a risk when you have a big snow that you warm up past freezing, you start to get some melting, and then the roads freeze up again?
Well, they're going to freeze up each night, and even on Friday, if we get to around 40 degrees, during the overnight hours of Friday night, we'll probably drop back down below the freezing mark again. And believe it or not, a chance for some snow or maybe some flurries Saturday and into part of Sunday.
So a lot of people are saying, well, we got off a little bit easy, certainly less than some of the most dire forecasts were. What happened? Did this storm track closer to the shore?
Absolutely. In fact, it was a matter of maybe 30 or 40 miles at the most where we saw the snow track closer to the coastline. And of course, as it moves closer to the coastline, it helps to draw in milder air from the ocean. That's why the places along the shore areas saw the snow change to sleet and eventually rain. But inland areas, that mild air was not able to penetrate, certainly not at Curly's Corners, because they had snow straight on through, and that's why they had 1.5 feet or so. An old professor of meteorology, when I went way back too many years when I was in college, once told me, Joe, when you get into this business of forecasting, it's going to be like trying to play pool with egg-shaped balls, especially when you're trying to forecast snow. And certainly this is one of those eggy days that we had today.
Finally, Joe, we've had big snowstorms before. Big snowstorms this late into March, a little bit unusual. Hopefully there's no more snow in the forecast, correct?
Well, I can't say there's no more snow in the forecast. What I can tell you is that from the Climate Prediction Center, these are the guys at NOAA that specialize in long-range outlooks, and they're saying that at least for the next 2 weeks, we're going to see temperatures on average below seasonal normals. And so if we happen to get another big storm, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. We'll wait a few days before considering that again.
Yes,
Joe
indeed.
Rayo, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew.
We want to go around the region now, and as you might expect, we have team coverage of the storm and how the tri-state is dealing with it. First up to Long Island, where FiOS 1's Kevin Vesey joins us live with more. Kevin?
Well, Andrew, we're here in Point Lookout. I'll tell you, the wind can be just brutal. Sometimes you get these gusts that feel like they're going to knock you over, and the snow has started again. For most of the day, we had freezing rain and sleet, but right now we're getting snow, and that's hitting me right in the side of the face as the wind blows. But really what people are looking out here, it's not what's coming out of the sky. It's actually what's coming out of the ocean. Take a look. This is the Jones Beach Inlet. We're on the east side of Point Lookout, and you can see the water right here. Everything looks fine. But we spoke with Hempstead Town Supervisor Anthony Santino. He told us that earlier in the day, that water was actually up here on these rocks where I'm standing. The problem with that, if you take a look down this way, you see those houses over there. Some of those houses are right up against those rocks. So surely there's a danger of flooding here. It's what pretty much everyone is thinking about. It's what they're talking about as they get started cleaning up the snow that fell earlier today. Here in Point Lookout, Rob Humphrey says it's a race against time to shovel away the wet, slushy snow before it turns to ice. Though he is happy that the overall amount he has to remove is much lower than originally thought.
You know, I thought this was going to be another, what do they call it, snowmageddon?
Later this evening, when high tide hits, Humphreys and his neighbors might have a different problem. Hempstead Town Supervisor Anthony Santino says the eastern end of Point Lookout was close to flooding this morning, so it will be watched closely once again.
We're asking neighbors who live in low-lying areas to use common sense, move their cars to higher ground if they can.
Meanwhile, in nearby Long Beach, residents took a look at the ocean from the city's boardwalk, hoping the water does not make its way onto the street. The waves are crashing higher than they normally do, but so far there's been no significant flooding.
I think we dodged a big bullet because this could have been very, very bad. I was very concerned if this was going to breach.
And high tide here in Point Lookout scheduled to come at around 10 o'clock tonight. So, Andrew, that means that we still have about 4 hours to go. Residents keeping a close eye on that water. In Point Lookout, I'm Kevin Vesey. Andrew, let's send it back to you.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. Now, for most of the day on the South Shore in Suffolk County, it has been raining and there has been some flooding. FiOS 1's Krista McNally is in Lindenhurst with the latest there.
Despite the warnings last night, some businesses decided to stay open today.
34 years and I've never closed.
Keith Dahman is the owner of Gino's Pizza in Babylon Village and was one of the only food places open on Deer Park Avenue.
We have a contract with the railroad, so when it snows and they have all these crews that do different things, mostly cleaning the platforms, we feed them.
He says business today has been normal because there were not many other options of places to eat. And as far as the weather, it was much better than expected.
It wasn't too bad. We didn't get it. Obviously, we didn't get as much as we thought we were going to get.
Another business doing well today because they decided to open is the Lindenhurst Diner.
It was busier than I expected it to be.
Sarah is a waitress at the Lindenhurst Diner. She says choosing to stay open today paid off.
Usually there's like 5 or 6 tables, and I got like 10 tables at like one time.
One customer who was there for lunch says that there are many business owners who probably lost a lot of revenue from not opening.
Oh, it hurt a lot of people. Lindenhurst is closed. A lot of people are closed. Southside Fish Market.
Traffic on the roads is back to normal, although it is still cold and windy. One woman describes the day's conditions.
It's miserable. It's miserable.
Some people fear the roads are going to get worse as the temperatures drop tonight.
This is ridiculous too. You know, it's going to be icy later and it's scary.
So that's the scene on Long Island today. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we shift over to New Jersey and see how the Garden State is weathering the storm. We're live on the shore to see whether flooding is an issue and also checking on how people there are digging out.